Hi, I'm Philip Kessner. In this video, I'll go step by step through the process of procedure creation. We'll use instruments that are included in fresh installation of Calibre. To find out how to get more instruments into Calibre, check video 4. Let's start by clicking on New, which opens a procedure wizard. Most tools in Calibre, like Procedure Wizard, are automated and ready to save you a lot of time if you use them correctly. This usually requires filling in as much data as you can before proceeding to the next step. In this case, procedure name has to be set, and instruments used in calibration have to be selected. I'll try to calibrate Fluke 79 multimeter today. In every calibration, you need at least one unit under test and one calibration standard. On top of that, Calibre needs to know whether the instrument acts in this calibration as a source of signal or a meter of signal. UUT means tested meter, like the Fluke 79 we have. Standard is meter acting as a calibration standard. Sources of signal can be tested, can act as standards, or they can generate signal for both tested and standard meters. Basically, you can get 3 different setups with these options. Instrument response and instrument control are both manual since Fluke 79 doesn't have any PC interface. However, with ChemOCR module, you can read measurements even from instruments with no interface at all. You have to change ranges and functions manually anyway, but with ChemOCR, you are saving both time and concentration needed on rewriting thousands of values into computer. And I'll use M143 calibrator as standard source over serial port. Well, instruments page is all set up. Let's proceed to functions. When you click on Functions tab, Calibre will list all UUT functions and ranges, generate suitable calibration point within these ranges, and list points which can't be calibrated for some reason. I would like to calibrate all functions, so I'll leave this tab as it is. The same with ranges. And now I come to values. Values shown are pre-selected and you don't have to stick with them. If you feel that another calibration point is necessary, just add it. Now let's take a look what's wrong with our calibration. And straight away I can see 2 problems here. The first, and quite obvious, is missing capacitance function in M143 calibrator. Normally you would have to add another instrument into play, M525 for instance, but this time I'll just drop capacitance function to keep this simple. Second thing is missing short function in M143. I'll just change this calibration point to 5 ohms, but again the best way would be to add short standard into procedure as next instrument. All conflicts solved, let's move on. By the way, you can move on even with inapplicable values present. Calibre would exclude them from calibration anyway. And here we go. All calibration points created, there are just a few steps to go. M143 communicates via serial port, so this will need some configuration. Then save the procedure. Optionally you can fill in procedure details here, run it, and finally collect calibration report. So let's start. Right click on M143, set up RS, and when I check my M143 for serial port settings, I can see that only baud rate is different. Also make sure the instruments are set up right. If you are using USB serial converter as I do, make sure you set the right COM port. And now save the procedure. You may have noticed that there are icons for Open, Save, as well as Import, Export. So what's the difference? Open and Save work with plain procedures, files with PRO extension. By exporting the procedure, you'll get a PRE file or extended procedure, which contains plain procedure and instrument cards of all used instruments. This feature is useful when using a custom instrument which isn't included in the basic set of Calibre instrument cards. I'll explain instrument cards in next video, but the main thing is that exported PRE file contains instrument cards and saved PRO file doesn't. Everything is ready now, so I'll launch the calibration. When something needs to be changed, Calibre will notice you every time. These messages can be dismissed by left-clicking on them or pressing Enter. Since Fluke 79 is set to manual, you will have to type the measured values in too. All goes well, so I'll stop the calibration now using Escape. If you own a full version of Calibre, you can now export the calibration data to a text file. Right-click on button table and press Export. Thank you for watching this tutorial. In next video I'll explain instrument cards, how to work with them and so on. If you would like to dig deeper into procedures, calibration reports and Calibre setup, make sure you don't miss the 5th and last video of this series on Calibre.